that one of our faculty postdoctoral fellow at the University of Nebraska, though of course in a different campus. I welcome you, sir, on this occasion for delivering this special lecture, and we are amidst us, and we will hope that all of our faculty members will make use of your visionary words. Thank you, and I welcome you once again.
So actually,
slideshow. Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing today? See, I'm a 5 o'clock person. To me, it's almost half the day is gone. And so, I was really appreciative that they didn't ask me to make a presentation at 4 in the evening. I'm like my graduate at 7:30. And I'm here to share with you some ideas. And I'm going to change the title. I'm sorry. I talked about, giving you some ideas on enhancing the lecture. I didn't give them the whole title, so I'm sure they will title there. But I want to thank the Vice Chancellor and Dr. Rage, if I can see him somewhere, for inviting me, and I special thank Mr. my college mate from Surathkal, who coordinated this whole thing for me and was able to get a time and date to come and speak to you in the United States. I'm leaving tomorrow. And so he found a time, and especially thank the Vice Chancellor for letting me come before I leave. I want to start off by really saying I'm not going to tell you what to do. This is not about what you should be doing. My university was not very different 25 years ago in terms of research, and how we have moved here today is what I'm going to share with you, and some of the challenges we face and how we address some of those challenges. So those are the tips and tricks. You're welcome to them that works for you. If it doesn't work for you, throw it out the window. It's not going to work for you. But if something works for you, you want to think about it. So without further ado, about 40 minutes, hopefully, so we can have some question and answer sessions. And I'll be glad to hang around here and chat with you guys for as long as you want. So, this is really tips and tricks for faculty, but also tips and tricks for the institution. So there may be some things that the institution also has to do, and some do as well. My name is Srivatsa Seshadri. I'm originally from Karnataka. I come here every summer, and I try to go and speak in what I'm doing. Chancellor said, I'm a professor. There are professors like to do two things. They like to talk, and they like to share knowledge. These are the two things we are very good at. So I thought when they invited me to, when we started talking about research and how we do research, I got this idea. Maybe I'll share some of the things that we have done, fine, some we use. Just to give you a little background on myself, I'm an engineering graduate from Surathkal, graduated in 1997, and now called NIPT. I worked in India for about 14, 15, 12 years. Worked in Bangalore for about a year and a half, and then went to L&T, and then went to Mukund, and then somewhere in '88 I decided I would an MBA abroad. So I went to United States, Minnesota. For those of you who know the United States, it's one of the coldest countries, Minnesota. Without a coat, without a sweater, I was shivering like crazy. And the only two things I had in my pocket was my passport and some money. I had nothing. But customer service in the United States is very good. So I got everything within 12 hours. They got me my bag and all that. So, and then I had a professor there. You're doing your MBA very well. You don't really have to complete your MBA. You can, because you have a 5-year engineering degree, you can start your PhD. So that's how I did it. And I got my PhD in business with an emphasis in marketing and quantitative analysis. And I've been with the University of Nebraska since 1993. So that's 25 years. I joined them in 1990. I teach a lot of marketing classes, both at undergraduate and graduate level. We have an MBA program, which has been for close to 50 years now. Yeah, I go to various universities. One of the nice things being a professor, and which was the reason I decided to do my PhD. I remember, like yesterday, the discussion I had with my faculty member when he said, "Why? I'm happy working in industry." And he said, "Well, let me tell you, as a professor, you only have to work 9 months a year. Your summer, you can do whatever you want." I was mature enough to know that time is worth having, and so every summer I'm abroad. Like you see, I teach in South Korea, I teach in China, I teach in Bulgaria. Between 2 weeks to 3 months. So in the past 35 publications in PRJs, and probably have 5 or 6 work in progress. Always use pipeline, otherwise it's not known. And I'll tell you requirements are. And we do a lot of conferences. In fact, one of the best things we begin to host our own conference, inviting people from all over the country. So first I'll give you a little context, our transition, where we were to where we are today. So pre-1992, we were a college or a, it was called Kearney State College, and there were we had about graduates. We focused university, and really the focus was teach. So people who teach 6, 7 classes a semester, right? And there was absolutely no expectation of research. So it was not uncommon for a faculty to walk in the weekend or the week before classes began, and they say, we don't have anybody to teach biology. You should teach what? And so that was very common practice. I mean, they didn't go so far an engineer to teach biology, but I taught 5 classes of statistics, and it drove me crazy because to teach 5 classes of chemistry in a semester just is impossible, I think. But we had to do it. Those were the days in '92 and early '93. So in '92, I became part of the university. The University of Nebraska is the only taxpayer-funded state university in the state. And And we have 4 campuses. There's 2 in Omaha, 1 in Lincoln, Nebraska, which is the capital of the state, and then 1 in Kearney, Nebraska, where I am. Most of the campuses, and which is the westernmost campus in the state. And so we joined the university, and so the moment we joined the university, we had to follow the university. So the new requirements of the new joining the university, and this was the year before I joined, was that everybody will teach 4 classes, 8 classes in a year, 2 semesters, and for the first time, we were asked to do research. And so we have a very unique for promotion and tenure. So the university system has. So you have to become a graduate faculty within 3 years after you join. Not a graduate faculty, you cannot teach postgraduates. You cannot teach master's level classes. That 3-year thing, you're unlikely to, you will, within the next 2 years, they'll ask you to file. How many of you know about the US tenure system? Anybody? System, very briefly, is very simple. You have, and I didn't think about it until Peter told me this morning. It's kind of like a 6-year probation. In 6 the requirement tenure, you're fired. There is just it's a go no go situation. So we have to be a graduate faculty. In 5 years, you have to get promoted to associate professor. And then in 6 years, you have to get tenure. If you don't do, if you miss one tenure, and you're going to be out of here in 6 years. So the university at that time said you need to have at least 1 peer. Six years. So from going from 0 requirement were already tenured, who were grandfathered in, and so they said, I'm not going to do research. I don't care. Another 5 years, I don't have to. So we left them alone. We said, okay, do about you. But for all the new faculty, these are the new requirements. So in 94, we had a new chancellor. This was 1 year after I joined. Well, she joined when I joined in 1993. And then in 94, she, the university system in the United States is governed by the faculty. Everything runs by faculty. Curriculum, classes, what you can teach, how you can teach is run by the faculty. But the administration can dictate some things. So the chancellor dictated something. She said, we are all going to be scholar teachers. In other words, you will do readings. She said, instead of going 4 classes a semester, you will all do 3 classes a semester. I'm going to give you 1 class release so you can do research. So now the institution starts supporting meeting the goals that we needed to meet. And then she also said we need to have 1 peer-reviewed journal for graduate faculty, raise the requirement to 3 from 2 for getting a promotion to associate professor, and she raised tenure requirements from 3 to 5 in those requirements. And then for those who wanted to become full professors, you needed to have 8 to 10 peer journal requirement in 10 years. You get to become before your 10 years in the university, teaching in the university. She also added one more thing for our service. We have always had doing service professional bodies. She added that we will also do service for the community. So, and all of that came out handy. We tried to use those. And then in 2004, we had a different system. All 4 campuses have one who has one, we call them provost, vice chancellor for acting, and she we're going to change your requirements. So if you want to become graduate faculty, you're going to go 2 publications. So that adds more pressure on new faculty. So these are the things. So that was ramp up number 1. So ramp up number 2. This university, we have accrediting bodies, and accrediting bodies are always asking things that are faculty who are publishing or got published 3 or 4 articles the year before they got promoted. Body said that's not good. You need a consistency of research, not just do because you want to get promoted, not do 5 because you want to get tenure. You have consistency of performance every year. And then they said, because your university mission is to be local focused, to do service for the local community rather than going. So my service to South Korea and China doesn't count. We want you to do for the local community. So we call that a town and gown relationship. And then in 2014, we had more requirements. They said we publish. If it is not impactful, it doesn't mean anything. So now we have to show impact of our research. And if a research has no citations, there is no impact, it really doesn't count much. And they wanted to make sure that we publish in our journal. As you all know, and there was a recent article about 2 weeks ago in the Hindu. There are a lot of pay-to-play kind of journals. Anything you give them. And so they wanted to reduce that. And by the way, the headquarters for those journals is Hyderabad, if you didn't know that. So the guy from Hyderabad, 150 journals in all the disciplines, you pay and he will publish. So the peer review is only on paper. There's really no good peer review taking place. Journals are not disseminated, and I'll kind of let you know what we define as research. And so, and then there's if you have a degree, is in marketing, and you teach marketing, and you go and do publication in biology, that doesn't count. You got to be very so impact, discipline focused, and consistency. So all of these things came to play. So we call that as ramp up number 2. So it just keeps. So what are our takeaways for our faculty? So this is what we learned from our experience. So we said, research expectations, it'll always be there. Every time some other university does something really good, accrediting body comes and says, hey, those people are doing something really good. We want you to start doing it. To raise the level of research. They are driven by, obviously, the institution, like the Vice Chancellor said, the institutions in a nation really depends more on research than on teaching. When was the last time a government said, how many of your faculty teach well? They want to know how many of your, and that is how rankings do. And then it is always a moving target. Today is 5 journals in 5 years. Tomorrow it can be 8 in 5. It always keeps going up. So the things that I'm going to share with you has been, and so I'll talk about my college and what has happened since we use some of these things or handle some of these. So when I joined in 1993, we had 72 faculty members in my college alone. And they were most about teaching. So now we 65 faculty publishing, And this is just the last 8 years. Our mission is we are not into basic scientific research. We are a small institution based on teaching. So, I mean, that is 100 citations per faculty in the past. Pretty good. And remember, we started in 1994. We were almost at zero. So in 20 years, we have come up, or 20 plus years, we have come up a long way. And now, consulting projects. So we go and do consulting to businesses, which gives us ideas for research and also collect data. So I guess the point I'm making is some of the things we have done has been successful because the outcomes have been positive. Challenges we face, and I'm sure you relate to many of these as we go on. Okay. Challenges when we were told that you have to publish it as well, maybe here we have challenges are nothing more, in other words, for opportunities. So overall, I would say there are these 6 factors that determine our research productivity. Okay? Some of it is ours, what we can do as faculty. Some of it is the institution needs to do in order to help faculty achieve what they want them to achieve. So there's some onus on the institution. So we're going to start off with the broad one, which is the institution. So we had a terrible culture. So the first thing, there was very little motivation to do research. I joined the university in 1964, 65. I've been doing this. They're telling me to do research after 30 years. That's not who I am. That's not what I came to teach at the university. I'm a teacher first. I'm wanting to teach. So it's to teach, not to do research. So lack of intrinsic motivation. And there was no extrinsic motivation from the institution either. The institution did not research. If anything, they would say, well, I need one more person to teach this class. You're going to teach starting to go prepared. So even the mission, our old mission was to teach, teach, teach. There was no reason. Yeah, you do research, you publish. Who the hell is going to read it? What's the point? Something that will help our students. You write a research, you publish a paper, Nobody goes to the library to read your research. So we don't want you to do that. So the culture was very guidelines. We were told that there were no guidelines. So if you want to publish, and by the way, and this is really funny now that in team, if I wrote a letter to the editor in a local newspaper, that was considered research. For all of you who have read letters here, it is nothing more than a gripe session. People who are angry write letters to the editor. So there are road conditions in this place, and they were considering, yeah, you publish something that is good. Research in pedagogy, teaching. You can do research in applied, which is something that will help the industry. Or you can do some basic research, find some new drug. Called dissemination. So a paper publicly available is not worth it. So you write a paper and you publish it and you distribute it to your 120 students does not count. So publicly available in some journal or somewhere, so somebody from another university can go and comment on that. So if that doesn't happen, we don't call it a research. The guidelines were provided on what constitutes research. Consultation, all of this, by the way, is faculty driven, not administration. You should do this. So we created committees, and those committees came up with these ways to address these challenges. Things faculty said is, how am I going to do applied research? We don't have the facility to invent a new drug, a new machine. We are not into particle physics. We don't go doing, and so we can do basic research. So we are only pedagogy and applied. How are we going to apply? So we created a document that allowed us to 12 hours a month on consultancy, whether paid or free, it didn't matter. Most of us do consultancy on a paid basis, so we get paid something. We do consultancy for a non-profit or an NGO, we do it for free. And of course, you have all of your summer to do consultancy, which gives us ideas to write cases. Cases is applied, and so we write a lot of case studies, and other faculty use it in other university, which then covers dissemination and citation indexes. And I'm going fast, so you can stop me and ask questions if you have any as we go. Our research climate in departments was very proper. There were some departments which had lots of students and very little faculty. And they said, if I tell my faculty to do these 3 classes, how am I going to cover all these classes that we have to cover? And so for that, what they did was they said, you will still do research. If we give you additional class, you will get, so we get overtime kind of. We have 4 classes in a semester. I either get an overload for that 1 extra class, or the next semester I get 1 less class. So instead of, I spend some time doing research. So that is how we address this challenge a little bit. And then we recruited. We started recruiting students or PhD track. Okay. So, 1994, and many of them did not have a PhD. They had a master's. In a master's program, they don't get trained to do research. research. So we developed a development committee of faculty, 7 faculty selected from each of meets every month, but they also act as mentors. And so if I want to go and do research in a subject and I don't know how to do something, I can go to them and they'll set up a seminar or they'll put me in touch with somebody else who is an expert in that particular. So we started to help other faculty to meet some of these skills that they needed. So we provided a lot of opportunity. I can't emphasize this enough. To put money into all of this, this was driven by faculty. The faculty were the ones who came up. Our institution had a sink or swim attitude. I remember when I first remember, there was no mentorship, there was no orientation. I came and they said, here is your book, start teaching. And if you don't succeed, not mine. Over time, people realize that it takes time and money to recruit somebody. And if you don't groom them and they leave you, you're on. And this becomes an ongoing process. And then you don't have institutional knowledge. You don't develop for the future. So there are a lot of orientation program. And so the faculty went and said, we need to change our attitude. Our university system are dead. In my campus, we changed that whole attitude and we said, publish. A lot of people who had no training in publishing, we can't let them perish. And these people have been teaching for 20, 25 years. These are, you have to look at these assets. You get rid of a good asset. So we said, publish and prosper rather than publish and perish. But I think in another publish or perish, I can see my university already headed that way. But so we said we are not going to do sink or swim. We're going to do, if you don't publish, come to us, we will see how we can help and get you some publishing. So we do a lot of collaborative publishing even today because of this. For research, absolutely zero. And so one of the things the faculty and the Senate, we have a Senate body of faculty too. Recognitions. And recognitions don't have to be monetary. You can have recognitions without award. But actually, we went and raised some funds from. Now, every year we select 6 faculty in the who get recognized in a public forum like this. $1,000 check that they can use any which way they want for research purposes. So it goes into a university pot. And so they can use it for conference travel, they can use it, they cannot use it to pay a journal to publish their article, but they can use it for conference travel, they can use it to buy equipment, they can to get these awards and recognitions. And then we have rewards within the college also. So we have at the university and we have at the college. We have colleges in our university, business, arts and humanities, natural sciences, and education and graduate school. So each of these and give them again, faculty said, we don't have this, we got to incorporate all of these. So those are some of the institutional things that happen. Lack of resources. So we'll start with some of those. Is our biggest enemy because if you're as all of you, it's not just about spending 3 hours in it, preparing for the class, grading, all those things. So it takes a lot of time to teach, and then you have students come and needing explanation. lack of time. Like I said, our chancellor said, I'll solve the problem for you. You will teach 3 classes instead of 4. And so that took kids time. Just as a background, the idea in our city in the United States, in most universities in the United States, if you have no service, you have nothing but teaching, then you will have to teach in class 15 hours a week. And the idea is for to teach in the, you will have 30 hours outside the class to prepare for the class, and so that is 45 hours time job. So that is how our idea came about. So now they give us, out of 15, they said 3 hours for service to the local community, 3 hours research. So they took out, so that left with three classes, 9 hours to teach. So that's why we teach 9 hours a semester, or 3 classes. One of the complaints of faculty was, yeah, you can ask me to teach 1 class, but the students in the class. So we have a rule, class will be more than 25 students. Very, very rarely do we have students. Our average class size is 17 to 20. And in fact, our classrooms are built, it cannot take more than this. So there are only 2 classrooms in the entire campus that can take 100 students. Every other classroom can only take 20 to 35. So your administration and department chair can't put 70 students in your class, because giving me 3 classes of 70 is taking away my time. It doesn't count. So as a rule, we only have 25 max per class, and the average class size is about administrative duties. Some of us, like me, I was till May, 2.5 years, I was director of the MBA program. Do this and teach and do research, I don't think it's going to happen. Either my administrative duty is going to suffer, or my teaching is going to suffer, or my research is going to suffer. So the institution said, if you're doing administrative duty, you get one less class. So I used to teach only 2 classes a semester to help me do the administrative duty. Note, in all of they gave me time, but they never reduced my research requirements. They said, I don't care if you have to do administrative duties, you still have funding, money to do research. Many of us do surveys, experiments. If you do experiments with students, you might have to give them reward. If you do surveys, you need to buy a database. All of this costs money. So one of the things we really don't have money. So for this, we did a couple things. We went to private donors and we raised some money. So in my college, we have a wonderful research labs with one-way mirrors and all that stuff. So you can actually do some really good research in marketing and management area. We got new equipment in physics and chemistry. We got new funding. I mean, a couple $1 million from it to raise the research on anatomy and physical exercise and all that stuff. So, not give us money. The university did not give us money, but the university said, we will go and find money for you. So they went and raised money for us, and so we raised a lot of money from researchers. So from institutional, one problems we have for all the faculty our library is not very good. So if I want a journal article from, from a journal that we don't subscribe to, it takes 15 days to come. It was invested in digital library. So today I can find almost any article that I cannot find on scholar.google.com. I can much find anything within 20, and if it's not there, they'll get it to me in 24 hours. So we really put a lot of money into our library system. And again, that is thanks to these. The research I do require different software. Some of you use SPSS, some of you use to use that. So the institution said we will pay for that and we will buy this. So they set up software for us. So that was a big plus, which we. And then they became very, very supportive. And this is probably the linchpin for doing well. They started providing grants. So if I want to do research, I can apply for grants within the institution and outside the institution. So if I were to apply for a $500,000, they will help me write it. They will help me get in touch with the right people, and so which was not existing. But we also have a lot of university to give little grants of $1,500, $2,000 to do research. We have now. So we have some. Yeah, because we are a big university, fortunately, because of all the 4 campuses, our university also set up relationship with all the other campuses. So I can go to another research, which didn't exist before. And then of course help graduate assistants. So now we get graduate assistants to help us, which is a huge advantage. Okay, some of our personal challenges. What did our faculty? Okay, I already mentioned. I don't have the skills to do research. Well, the 2 things my university did, they said you have a master's. Are you interested in doing a PhD? In doing a PhD, I will give you some release time. You have 4 years to go get your PhD. So we have had faculty who were given a 1-year sabbatical to go finish their dissertation. So we raised our faculty who were all in the masters to become PhDs. Those who didn't want to become PhDs, they will teach 4 classes a semester. Do research at this level, you can do it at this level. Go do some presentations in conference. I still expect you to do research. I just don't expect you to do it at a very high level. And you will not teach at a master's level. You'll only teach at undergrad level to some faculty members. Okay. Time management skills. Most of, including me, we are not very good because if somebody comes to talk to us, we forget the clock, right? So we just, a student comes in, sits for 2 hours, and we are just chatting away, and pretty soon, I spent 1 hour on my research, it's out the window. So we created a committee called the Faculty. In the Faculty Development Committee, you can go and ask them, I have this problem, I don't know how to manage my time. And they'll give you ideas of all that. And they set up every month on something. So if I have a research project that I want to publish, I can go to the Faculty Development Committee and say, can I make my presentation so I can get some of what is good, what is bad, and what is ugly, so I can go fix it before I send it to a journal. So we have a Faculty Development Committee that meets once a month, 9 months, which is a good source for us to go and get some feedback on things we are doing, or some of our weaknesses. The number 1 problem that we as faculty said, I don't have an idea for research. And so again, the faculty comes in handy, but there are some people in our faculty who are very good at coming up with ideas. There are people who read a lot, ideas, and so we have set up a system where if somebody has an idea, they can go and ask somebody else and start working together. There are people who get ideas to do it. There are people who are good at doing research but don't get ideas. They're not very creative. And so we got started putting them together. So, and over time, people know the people with the people who are good in doing research. Because our accrediting body said you have to be research, that was the problem for faculty. But over time, we found that we can still be focused and still do what we like to do. So I can teach what are the different methods to use, what is the best way for students to learn. We also do a lot of case studies. My college, we are big into experiential learning. So almost every class, they do a project with a live client. And so that was a good idea for us to write. Whether doing this kind of teaching helps students keep learn and all of these kind of relate to one another as we go along. In order to be successful, it's really good to have interrelationships with fellow faculty members. Not one of all the skills required. So it is nice to have people. In the old days, faculty thought research is an individual process. One person does. Now, in my college and university, recommend collaboration across faculty within your department, college, university, outside the university. The more you collaborate, the more we are happy. Because when you have good interpersonal skills, you can enhance your research productivity. You just become more people, more ideas, and you start working on different things concurrent. That's why I have 5 or 6 work in progress with 5 or 6 different faculty members. Okay. Faculty said we really need some good mentors because we are moving into a new culture, and how do we do this? And so we designated faculty. Some people do a lot of research. Why don't you talk to them? And so we created these mentors. Mentors, it is not mandatory. So if I want a mentor, I can go. If I don't, we at least created some people. We said, here are some people you can go talk to who will help you with your research. This is particularly true for young faculty who just came in, who have 3 papers in a journal, who have 5 years to publish about 4 or 5, and if they don't do that, they're out of the door. And which was very useful. So we picked some faculty who enjoyed working with other faculty, and said, would you kindly be mentors? And so these are the factors. These are the factors that I consider them as, we think they're external. We can't control them, but we can a little bit. And okay, our first problem. This was a consistent problem for the first 6 years. Rejection rates. Holy cow! We would spend something and it would come back after 2 months. So you just work hopefully for a year and you send out and you're so depressed, right? So what are the reasons for rejection was really what we wanted to know. So we did a little thing. This is in the order of popularity. The number one reason for rejection, you're not adding any value to the discipline. You're not telling us something new. You're telling us the same old thing. Other people have already done that and published this because it's already been done. Because our faculty didn't have archivals and our library was not very good, people didn't know that this was already, this is a great idea, let me publish it. and they publish it only to find out, yeah, somebody else has done it already. So the library system, once it was set up, this kind of review. The other thing, journals don't like descriptive studies. Descriptive do not add a whole lot of value to good journals. So journal, if I did a research study and I said, do you know that 30% of Americans don't read newspapers, 40% get news from Facebook, it's not going to get published. It's too descriptive. That is something USA Today can do, and they do it all the time. So they're not good enough. We were doing too many descriptive studies. We moved away from descriptive studies to more hypothesis testing with statistical background and theory and all that stuff. We didn't know in 2000. So we moved that direction once we why our articles are getting rejected. Something about it. Methods. Our methods were not very good. Like I said, people's skills were pretty low at the time. And now our development help us with methodology. We can go and make a presentation to our fellow faculty, and they might say, there is a better method to do this than this what you're doing. And so, again, we have a lot of workshops. Every month we have a workshop. Faculty some new technique that some of the faculty has learned. So we share a lot of knowledge within ourselves, I guess is what I'm saying. Analytical. People didn't do good analytical techniques. Work and then do a frequency count and send a table doesn't work very well. And so they said, chi-square, that is a pretty low analysis. I think you need to do better analysis. And they would say, you're not doing regression, you're not doing logistical regression. And so we allowed our faculty to spend money to go to work to learn a new technique if they wanted to learn a new technique. Now today it is so much easier because you can get webinars on this without going anywhere. Sampling is normally one of the reasons we got rejected because 30 students, and that is a convenience sample, and that's not good. So we started developing a data list of and so not very easy to, not very hard to fix. But knowing that these are the reasons, we improved our methodology, improved our analytical techniques, but buying a sample is expensive, so the institution was good enough to say to buy your sample because you can buy. This is, believe it or not, I may be coming from a country where everybody speaks English, but very few write well. It's awful. It's terrible, and that was one of the reasons we were getting rejected. That the writing translation was not very good. It's a good story, and so the skill to write a story is I don't have it, which is another reason I collaborate with faculty, Susan Jensen, and she is a storyteller. She knows how to tell a story. So I do the research, I give it to Susan. Susan writes without taking away my main analysis, and we collaborate. We write well. She's also a good researcher, by the way. So, finding those unique skills. I'm good with analysis. I'm very, very good at analytical. So people come to me to do all the data analysis, but I'm not good at writing stories. So I find somebody, here is the story. Can you write it better? So we do that. And some people come to me to write stories. I still remember one of the best articles I and a fellow colleague of mine wrote. In fact, we think it is one of the journal came back and said, this is so high level, we don't have to do this. So And then I go back and look at the journal description and the kind of articles they publish and who the audience makes sense. So we should have read that before we sent it to the journal, rather than sending the journal and then saying, why it got. So now it is a good, we look at the journal and see what I'm doing research on. Does it fit this journal? There's no point in sending it to a journal if it doesn't fit. So that was another reason we were getting rejected. Where do we send it? We went from starvation to too much surplus. In 2009, before that, there were only a few journals that you could send, and so your rejection rates were very high. So demand rates were high. Now we have too many journals, and now we have to decide which journal to go to. So we have to go back and how we define research disseminated. If it is a journal that only 20 people have subscribed, it's not going to count. So a good journal is one that libraries have subscribed. Library has subscribed to, it's going to be publicly disseminated pretty fast. So, and again, we look at scholar.google to see if the journal shows up in scholar.google.com. So, with that, I end my presentation. I took exactly 45 minutes. And I guess in the end, I would say that individual effort. It takes a village. Collaboration as faculty we have, and the more support we do, the better we will be. If the institution's culture doesn't support it, no amount of effort by faculty is going anywhere. But I think the institution is on board, and I think the Vice Chancellor's talks see that the institution is on board, then collaboration. It takes a village. And the way I get so, like I need one article a year on an average. So there will be years I have none, and then I'll have a year I'll have 3. But on an average, I'll have 1 a year or time like that. And that can't happen if I didn't collaborate with other faculty members. If you go to my university website, articles I published, none of them is solo. Now, some universities require solo. Mine doesn't. Like I said, my university's philosophy is published, and so they're okay with in fact, they support collaboration. They want people to collaborate with colleagues and publish. So open up for questions or thoughts or things that you think is stupid and won't work here. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
So it's been quite some time here on the campus. Last third speech, almost for about 60 minutes in pure English. So thank you so much for the talk. So there are 2 things. One, I'd like to know, and before we came here, the circular came that there was a talk. We had a slight grievance that what to do with the classes. And the moment we came in here, classes take the back seat in the universities because there is more priority for research. We don't have the creativity for that. The question is,
we have a lot of speakers in my university and my college. On an average, every semester we will have 3 or 4 external speakers. There will be one in September. And so my dean will send out a message. He'll say, here's a speaker, and we request you to come to with your students. And for those of us who cannot afford to give up an hour of class, they don't force us to come. Those of us who can afford to, I will take my class of 20 students in September for speech, because I think it'll add value to the students for just coming to me. So, a kind of carrots work better than sticks.
You spoke, of course, about the research climate in your university, and it's really envious. But the problem that we have here is we just finished with our we had the second phase of admissions just yesterday. We were kind of worried about the vacancies here and there, got affiliated colleges. So yesterday there was kind of an anxiety prevailing on the campus about vacancies. We want people to flock in. So we kind of give away close to 60 seats from each department. So that way there's in the face of your talk, there is 20 students and 4 classes per hour. So we have a different situation here in India. Next is Ramesh IPC Director, which in fact demands for our timetable. And we have to clearly say like how many classes we took. In case we did, that would also cost 5. There's also certain kind of demand that we be in the classroom exactly according to the timetable because no circuit. So I'm not sure like how your talk about your story would fit in our anxieties or the frame of our.
I don't know either. I don't know either. A little different, and that makes a big difference. In the United States, universities, faculty government. So I can complain to my this is too big, it's just not going to work. Now he can veto and say, it's going to be 100. But 9 times out of 10 they will acknowledge because they understand that when you have too big a class, students are not learning. We have all gone through PhD and we have all gone through masters. We learn better in smaller classes because we have the option ask questions, debate, disagree, and that is what develops. And so we have the same thinking. One thing that helps us, and again, this may or may not apply to you, helps us is our accrediting agencies almost always ask, what are you doing about critical thinking? And almost always, as if we don't achieve that shows that we are applying critical thinking in our class. So when you have a 150 critical thinking, you give your lecture, you're out of there. You might do some assignments, right? So the whole, and we have the same prayer. Enrollment is going down, and they're always pushing more and more enrollment. And we have another, which kind of relates to this tangentially. More and more of our students don't want to come to the classroom. So we have online teaching. I teach in a year anywhere between 3 to 5, completely 100% online. 100% online. That student I will and an online class, believe it or not, takes more time. People think, it's an online class, you put it on the web and there. Actually, it takes a lot more time to semester after semester. So having said that, my university says, I don't care, you will do your research. Middle of the night, that's what you're going to do, but you will do research, otherwise you're in trouble. And I guess that's what you will hear here too.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I have a question, but before I start the question, I also want to I'm sure you have gone better than anybody else.
Here?
Yeah. Two different words class. Now my question is that you are telling that you have a research committee, your idea, you go and discuss with them and they would share their thoughts to you, but to be very all done our PhDs, but we have not got proper handholding as such. So how is can be plugged in? And
Yeah. The best way to do that, I mean, honestly, if you ask faculty, you're going to start a new committee, now would you please join? 9 out of 10 will say, forget it. I don't have time. So we have, for university, we have developed a constitution. Again, and that is again driven by the faculty body. We elect them, and they said every college will have a constitution, and in that constitution, we set up what we call these. So there's a committee for promotion and tenure, there's a committee for student affairs, there's a committee for faculty development, and those committees must be formed in every college. Every department will have one representation in that committee, and if it doesn't happen, we lose our accreditation. So we set up a structure where this happens. Have a faculty development committee, standing committee. Every faculty in the committee has a 3-year tenure, and so every 3 years, they'll be replaced. So, and that committee, so that is step creating the structure. And then in the departments, when we meet, we always, and our first meeting will be in the last week of August for the semester, for the academic year. And we will ask, who would like to be in which committee? Keep it voluntary rather than forcing, hey Sharma, you're going to be there, right? So we don't do that. And so by having faculty choose in, that they will be a little more passionate about contributing in the committee. So I'm not sure. And then we created a system where faculty join these committees voluntarily. If promotion is one of the most difficult committees to be in. And so nobody wants to volunteer. So that is the only committee there where I get forced into because I'm the senior in the department other than my chair. So Greg will say, you are in that.
is, first article. How did you break the jinx?
How did I work?
Yes. How did you start up and how did you succeed?
My very first article, so I already had my dissertation author, so I had a mentor already. But as I was working on it, I met, this is a bit of it. I have a very good friend of mine, and he's very unique. And I can spend a whole day talking about this guy. He teaches business law. He's 82 years old. And he goes to the classroom more energy than I have. And this is his 4th career in his life. He was an Air Force guy, then he became a lawyer, then he's a teacher, a tenured full-time professor. And Larry was my neighbor. And one on the phone, screaming, mad, frustrated. And I walked over and I said, what's going on? So he shows me this email he got from somebody. He was the vice president of the Aviation Association, Worldwide Aviation Association, and he's totally peeved. To him, it was a nasty. And I started laughing because that gave me an idea. That gave me an idea for a research article or a case study. And I said, you are from a low context country, which is the United States. The email came from a context country like India. And so what he did say is as important as what he said in your email. And so that gave us the first article we sent to a pretty good journal, qualitative literature, which data collection. So that was my second article. My first article with my colleague, St. Larry, was as an aviation, his company, small regional company, had a problem with pricing fuel. I have I'm into aviation a little bit, and so one market for natural gas, but there is no future market for jet fuel. And so he came and asked me, what do we? I'm on the board of directors of this commercial airline, and prices are fluctuating so much. What do we do? So I did some research. I found that jet fuel is nothing more than kerosene. And I looked at the spot prices of kerosene and the spot prices of Canada. They're correlated. The correlation is like 0.95. Highly. And so we use the future prices of kerosene to plan for buying jet fuel. That was very happy. Right. We wrote a case study on that. So that's how mine started. Yeah, go ahead. There's another question. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm Narahari from the Department of Mathematics. First of all, it is so delightful to hear about your experience at. Thank you for your time here. I have two questions in this regard. One thing, the first thing, the research culture or the teaching or academics in a university in US is from one in India. Particularly here, to just the number of students in a class comes to around 60 to 80 in any class. And every semester we will have to teach around 10 to 12 teaching hours per week, apart from the lab classes that we have. So I just do not know how to correlate the way we are supposed to approach research from what we have done here. One thing. The second thing, I would be very happy your inputs on how to do collaborative work when it comes to research. I have failed to do so in my work till date, so it will be great if you can take some more. Thank you.
To large classes, to the large students, to some degree, you have some control on, most of your time. Most of your time, I presume, it will be is spent on grading, giving assignments, grading papers, giving exams, and stuff like that. So one of the things that there are a few classes we have too, especially in just to give you background, we are a liberal arts college. Every student has to take 2 classes of math, 2 classes of history, regardless of whether they are social work or whatever the major is. So those classes tend to have 75 research. So one of the things our faculty have done in those classes to manage time is the exams that they give them are on the computer. It gets graded immediately. So, and is a positive. That's a positive, not only for the faculty but the student. Research has shown that the feedback on what you do, so okay, and you get the feedback after 1 week or 2 weeks. The students have forgotten what they've done, but the feedback on a computer will tell you the correct answer. If you want to show them the correct answer, it'll tell them your answer is wrong because. So they get that feedback and they immediately do. So that has really reduced time on grading. The other thing we do is some faculty, and everybody has a different teaching. So I don't want to tell them this is the way to do it. But some faculty, my friend Larry teaches law, and in law it's all about assignments, and he has students which are about 25 to 30. That's a lot of reading for him, and he says what I do is they don't put their names, they put their students. Here's the idea from an accrediting body that is critical thinking. When you review somebody's paper and point out the good, the bad, and the ugly, so for our accrediting body, they are happy about one of these exercises that we do. So, and then students also each other's mistakes. They really learn better from each other's mistakes. So in large classes, those are the two strategies that I know our faculty use. So they have large classes. Your second question, how to find collaborators. Best way is to start within your who is interested in doing research. And then the other thing is any of my, it doesn't have to be international. The third thing, and I think this is very effective, if you're willing to invest, is to have a conference in the college, in the university. My college, I started it, but now the college is bought into it. We bring a business conference, and we get about 70 or 80 people from 28 universities, 35 different. And so, once they start coming to conference on a regular basis, maybe it's every 2 years, maybe we do a conference every year, but it goes through different colleges, different universities. This year we will do it in Omaha. But when they start coming to the conference over and over, they become friends, and then they start collaborating and working together. So I think because we have the same issue, who am I going to work with? Well, start with your department, find out if somebody, I do some work on business ethics and chair. He's interested in it. And neither of us have training in ethics. Then we found another colleague, Noel Palmer, who actually, and so, started talking to him, and Noel said, sure, we can work together. And so we have started working with Noel. He brings the ethics part, I do the analytics part. Wonderful in lit review. He does all the literature review, we put it all together. So it's all these kind of like, Lego toys, right? Everybody gets a little. If my answer really answered you, but.
Wonderful story you showed for the university very positive. But I just want to talk about the results. In terms of research productivity, what is being said, could you please count some innovative or translational research that has occurred at your university, please?
Repeat it. Has a research article been translated into another language? No, sorry.
It is translated to product. Research that is being, like what kind of research that is, and any innovations, kind of innovations that have occurred in the university.
My college, because we are not into product design, but well, I take that back. I take that back. We have a department of interior. Those people design products, and so some at least one company has been launched based on. And so one company has been launched producing those products, and they're becoming very successful. There's another department in the computer science area where the student develops some new robots, and that is really done and been adopted by NASA. So we have some nice impact of what we have done. I'm not sure if I answered your question at all, but in terms of one of the three of our faculty focus a lot on is social capital. It's a management phrase that is beyond me, but they have been recognized, and some large companies have adopted some of their come up with, and now they consultancy to them. So as far as innovation by the university, probably the athletic research done by faculty who teach in the health sciences. So they have adopted some of those research athletics in football and soccer and all that. So that has been the adoption that I can, off the top of my head, think of.
Thank you.
Sir, I have two questions. One, when it comes to assessing the performance of the teacher in particularly research and publishing, the university grants commission here in certain disciplinary differences. I mean to say, the assessment for publishing in natural sciences and different in social sciences and humanities. So, is there similar difference while assessing the research and publishing of a particular university? That's number one. Number two, while praising secured in as indexed by certain scholarly database, or do you also consider things such as arithmetic scores? Someone's research, someone shares creates a Facebook post in someone's research. Does your university also consider arithmetic scores while assessing the impact of one's research?
Yeah, good questions. Remember I said that my university philosophy continues publish and prosper, not publish and perish. So everything follows from that underlying. So in the business college that I'm, and everything is driven the fact the final guy who signs proposal from one of these committees. We have a faculty development. The committee is in charge of all this. So we write a little report and say, here are some things that we think should be considered. The dean looks at it, he might add some, comes back. Anyway, and then that becomes a document for us. Every college has its own promotion and tenure committee, so they will each independently. Even in my college, for example, for people like us, publication in research. But if the interior design, they don't publish. They create new things. It goes to a conference. It may be recognized as a great design. So they have a different set of work. So the people in natural sciences have a different measure of impact. So I would say now, so my campus is a publish and prosper campus. The campus in Lincoln, which is our Tier 1 research institute, there is a publisher. So they measure impact by the number of patents, the number of copyrights, and all those kind of things, which is kind of different for us. So that, I think, answers your first question. The second question, we measure impact in a variety of ways, more than citations. We allow faculty. So when I submit my annual, all of us have to do our own annual evaluation. So every January, I do it for the previous year myself, and then I give it to my chair. And one of the things I have to explain in my annual evaluation is what is the impact of my effort. So for the research, I give citation counts as one of my lifetime citation, and something that has been the highest. Then I also give citations from what is called the H index. I will give a citation if I published in a journal. I can give, and the higher the number, the better it is. So those are all some measures of impact. But I also give impact. So if you sent me an email and said, Doctor, this article you wrote, I came across it, would you send me a copy of it? That is impact to me. I put that down there. So back to you, if somebody on Twitter said, I read, you guys should really read this, this is fantastic. That will go into my annual evaluation. So again, because we are a public, we want to be measuring impact as broad as I can. So some of us, if an article that I published in my class with an attached assignment to do for critical thinking or whatever, impact. But if you use my article in your class, that's a bigger impact, right? Because there's a conflict of interest when I publish my article and give it to my students and say, hey, there's a conflict of interest. So, but if you use my article in your class and then you come back to me and say, hey, this is how I see usefulness or lack of usefulness, and I will put that in my annual evaluation. So my school impact, they leave it to me to decide how I define impact.
That's in fact quite accommodating way of assessing the impact.
Right.
But have you established any mechanism to let whether others have used this result, maybe within the campus? You said another teacher uses
Yes.
Right. Do you have any online?
Yes. Yes. It's not like the Deccan Herald, but we have to give a status report to our accrediting agency. It's well, to my vice chancellor, and then it goes to the accrediting body. And our annual program review. Every year we have to do that. And my dean has to write that for about, it's a 6-page report for the college. So he will ask department chairs, what do you have that I can put in this APR that you guys have done something unique or different or something? Then he sends it to us and says, hey, did you do something that is impactful that I can tell the dean? And then I would say, hey, this faculty member used, and that is how it gets disseminated. And then that APR gets published in our website for public dissemination. Putting everything on the website because we are a taxpayer fund. There is an accrediting body that accredits all the accrediting bodies. So we never have to worry with them, but the accrediting bodies are pretty independent, and they can or cannot do. So they might come back tomorrow and tell us those Twitter impacts don't count. Oh, shoot, okay.
Exactly here the situation is that the government says, I fund you, therefore you must adopt the criteria I prescribe.
Yeah.
So glad to know that you have a different system.
Just to add to that, tangible and intangible benefits incorporated into the system, which is not the case here. We hope that would be the future course.
Yeah. The intangibles here, we started with intangibles because when we went, told the university we need money, the first answer is no, no, and no. And so we started with intangibles. These are the things we have done. This is our skin in the game. It's time we put some skin in the game. And so they started. It's so nice, but it really took a good, and it took faculty dedication. I mean, once faculty bought into the idea of research and enjoying research, I think it was the best thing that happened.
Can you touch on the case study research that you have done? Let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. There are lots of outlets for case studies. Case studies are what we call as and most of you have probably read cases. You write a story about a business or an organization, whether it's failing or succeeding, and then you have the teaching notes as to what will a student learn, and also provide the faculty who uses it some direct case. And I already gave you one case study about and so that had in the teaching notes, how do you evaluate a product price? You don't have external data directly relating to the product, and so and then we ask them, think about other products that you have pricing to kind of figure out what the price might be. Case studies, at least in the college business, are big. Harvard was the one that cases, and so we do a lot of consultancies. All of us do consultancies. I do probably 3 or sometimes for the same company, sometimes for different, and we always do it for a small company. We don't do it for the IBMs and the Wipros of the world, because that many of communities will come to us. Actually, we almost have a long list of companies of small businesses that will come and say, this business, do you think it's a good idea? And we will take that into our class, do a research project on it and all that. And if it is pretty good, then we develop it into there's a business, sad to say, there's a business that we know of in our state, Western Nebraska, that is doing everything wrong. And so we are writing a case on that, a story, and then we write that. Case studies are in high demand in business schools, and there are a lot of outlets. The other thing is there is a conference called Society for Case Research, SCR conference, and they have a unique way. So you send your case with your teaching notes, and rather than making a presentation like this like you do in most conference, they assign you 3 other people. And you sit at a table and you present your case to them, and they give you some feedback, they tell you how to improve. So, and then they also publish a journal. So if you want, you can send it to a journal. So case studies come out of mostly businesses that either approach us or businesses that we consult with. So, and we do a lot of those things. Does that answer your question, Sridhar? Or did I miss something?
Specifically, that the professors have done some how the questions would be.
Oh, the interactive case study. That's what you're talking about. I published a piece, and now we are trying to. How many of you use case studies? Do you ever give cases to your students to read and okay? Yeah. So generally, this is what we do. Most people students, and then and you ask them some questions, and they read the whole story, and then okay. Years ago, I came across, and this is not my invention. So I came across a website of Boston Consultancy Group, and the Boston Consultancy Group and it is no more available. They took it out, but at that time they had said, this is how we interview our candidates. So when you apply to Boston Consultancy Group for a job, this is what you can expect. And so what it did was it gave the candidate 4 lines of a particular case. That's all. So a fisherman in Mexico with sales, whatever, 3 or 4 lines, and the candidate had to ask questions and basically give the answer to that. And the candidate had 15 minutes to ask questions, and then he had to give an answer. What does the fisherman do? Make a recommendation. So really good idea. So from that I started doing what I call interactive cases. So I gave the students this case. This is the context. Their job is to ask questions, and there are different ways you can do. And this is where pedagogical research and publication comes into play. So what I do is I create my group of 20 students, I create 5 groups. And okay, you are five vendors. And your job is to give me a recommendation for this case, except I haven't told you the whole story. You have to dig up the story. Your job is to find out what. And I tell them you can ask me 20 questions. But 15 questions are public. So this group asks me a question, everybody hears that question, and everybody hears my answer to that. So it's a part of the state. And if I don't have an answer, I'll tell them, no, we don't know about that data. We don't have that data. So, and then the last 5 private questions. So this group can ask me 5 questions that nobody else knows, and I tell them this is how you develop your competitive advantage. And then the other 4 groups, you will do a better recommendation. So they ask 5 questions, and then I give them 15 minutes to discuss within their own group, so they don't overhear each other. So they go to different places, come back in 15 minutes, and each of them makes their recommendation. And so that is the interactive case that I do. Works very well with up to 30, 35 students. If you have 70, it becomes really very hard. But if you have 30 students, you do the right cases, and it forces them. And the idea here, the reason I got this idea was all of us, when we get in, I mean, the way we learn is by asking questions. And so this is my way of telling students that, garbage in, garbage out. If you don't ask good questions, you're not going to get good answers. The recommendation is not going to be good. So you have to think what questions to ask and be smart about it. So if there's something, nobody is going to think about this. Keep that for your last 5. So you're also learning strategy here a little bit. So that is my wanted me to tell.
The research paper is also published, so you can give a reference.
Yeah, you have to look up. A colleague of mine, Larry Hughes, wrote that for a conference. It got published. I hope it's still available. It was several years ago. So we call it the 20Q case analysis. It's an old game. It used to be on TV. I don't know. A lot of kids play that. I got 20 questions. Ask me what I'm thinking about. It's a kids game that I have adapted for this interactive cases. I appreciate it.
I thank you, sir, presentation and a very long interactive session. Personal interests and tracing the growth of the university from so-called quote unquote 0 to 100, if 100 is infinite. So we thank you for your presentation and valuable information that was shared through your interactive session. On behalf of Tumakuru University and on behalf of all the faculty members who are present here, I hope the faculty members will benefit the input that they have are intentional. Thank you, Mr. And I thank IQSC and the director of IQSC teaching this special lecture on enhancing research productivity. Our interaction with Professor Srivatsa and the history has bonded us so near that probably we start looking for details through the website. So I thank organizing this special lecture on this day. I thank Dr. B. Ramesh for doing this excellent service, and I thank all the faculty here. And I must make a mention of Professor Sridhar, who is a visiting faculty here, who was instrumental in arranging and coordinating this special lecture on this day. I thank you, Professor Sridhar, on behalf of IQAC and Tilpur University as well. And I thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor the session, though we had to go on his in a outside university. So I thank you for inaugurating the session, heading the session as well. I thank all the faculty members who are present here and the student community who are present here. And thank you. Thank you.
Yes.